Hi, everybody, and welcome to Studying the Masters with Alicia Dianne Art. I'm Alicia Dianne, and we are going to continue in our work study with our new artist that we're going to be working with today is with. I have to go grab the book. It's an awesome book. You might have heard of it. It's called Sulwe by Lupita Nyong'o. It is a children's book, and we are Vashti Harrison. That's her name. I don't know why I just blanked my head for a second, but the illustrator, her name is Vashti Harrison, and I don't have a whole lot of like her background, but she is like an amazing illustrator. She usually does focus on the themes with like African American stories and African stories. So I know that she's actually become an author as well, not just illustrating other people's books, but she has her own books that have been coming out as well. So that's something to look after. I mean, her stuff is like really beautiful. If you haven't yet seen Lupita Nyong'o's book, it's all about like colorism and like helping children to deal with that and to be proud of their skin color, which is a great concept. I picked a kind of a complicated illustration for our study today, which I'm okay with. Hopefully, you guys are as well. I have my coffee. I haven't had coffee yet all day, so I'm like, ah, finally. But I'll put it on the other table so that I don't spill it again. But I'm like trying to import the image right now. So let's see. I'm importing it because I tried to do it with like my phone, like take a picture, but that was not working out so hot. So I'm gonna be instead, let's see if I can put it in the downloads, and I'll just put Suway. So I'm importing it into Photoshop to use as a reference. So I'm going to go ahead and scan that. In the meantime, if you are illustrating with me, you can pull out like whatever you like to sketch with, you like to draw with. You don't necessarily have to do these studies in color. You can try them in different ways, however you feel comfortable with. You can always like do pencil sketches of some of these things. So if you have like children's books at home and you just want to kind of practice like the style, I would definitely recommend even just doing like pencil sketches. I think like however you practice is going to help you. So let's adjust this. Let's rotate this. Is that right? Okay, so I'm going to save this, and I'm not putting out the original illustrator's work because we don't want any copyright issues. But I'm going to open up my Photoshop window, and let me open up my reference on the side, and I'll just make this smaller. It is the image, if you have seen the book, it's the image where, let's see, it says, that night a shooting star appeared at Sulway's window. The night sent me, the star said, come with me. Sulway hopped onto the star and went, and off they went. So the star kind of comes into her window and flashes off. And I think maybe I can just show you just a flash in the book, and I think that might be okay. I'm just so wary of like, all of the restrictions that they do have with copyright and all that, and I don't want to get in trouble. So I'll just show you it for a second, and then we're going to continue doing our study. So let me go ahead and save this. So this is, let's see, I think we're on the 10th one. All right. Let me save this, and I'm going to pop into my Photoshop window, and I'll grab the book so you guys can see it. Even though there is a lot of like, it looks like it's a pretty big spread. And I'll pop back up for a second. So this is the book. It's called Suwe by Lupita Nyong'o. You guys know her. She's like famous Oscar-winning actress, and the illustrator is Vashti Harrison. So this is a great children's book, and this is going to be the spread we're illustrating. Okay, so that's the original. And I'm going to pop into my Photoshop window. And let's see. All right, so make sure I have everything I need. I'm going to change the orientation. So let's see. Unlock this. So let me see. So I can go to canvas size. This is definitely not a Photoshop course, so hopefully you guys are a little bit familiar with Photoshop. Let's see. I wonder if I do 5x10, how that will work. Okay. I don't know if it even needs to be that long. Maybe 7, or maybe 5 by, I don't know if 5x7 will be, let's see, where's the width? Not quite the size I want. Image, canvas size. Let's see, I want to keep this 10, I think. And let's make this, no, 7x10. Will that work? I'm just trying to find like the right ratio. Let's see. I'm gonna try another thing. I think maybe 6 would be good. I think that's good. So I'm just gonna go ahead and save that. All right. I think that's a pretty good size. So it's a spread. So obviously, if you're doing children's book illustration, you want to have all variety of stuff, including spreads, including spot illustration, which I think I talked about the last time, which I didn't even know what that was until I took the course, like on illustrating, and it's basically those spots. They have it in Sule too. Like she has a couple of spot illustrations. Maybe I can show you that real quick. So you want to have those as well. So it's like if it's not taking up the whole page, it's just kind of like a spot, essentially. So like you'll have like a page, and maybe you'll have like something's going on up here and something else will be going on down there. So you'll have like two like different or multiple illustrations on one page. It's just like basically a spot, and you're illustrating within. I don't think we've done that yet, so maybe next time for our next illustration, maybe I'll pick up spot illustration just so you guys can see. That's pretty easy. You just want to pretty much just make the shape, and then you can just paint with a clipping mask, or even just paint and then just paint the whole thing and then put it to a clipping mask, and that will work as well. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. I want to use a pencil type of brush, and we'll probably be primarily doing just pencil today. I don't know how much further we'll get than that. I kind of doubt if we'll get to any sort of color, but we can see. One of the things that I really realized and recognized is so important when we're doing illustration, like, is to remember the perspective. It's not the same as like just doing like like character concepts where you don't have to think about necessarily the backgrounds. For illustration, same with like visual development, you really do have to pay a lot of close attention to backgrounds and your perspective. You don't want to ignore that. Alright, so I want to find, I feel like my, where's my eye level? My eye level, I guess it's kind of low. I'll find my eye level. And then I want to find the ground plane. I know we took the perspective made easy thing, but like I still have to practice in my own right. And it looks like this might be a 2-point perspective. Does anybody remember how we did 2-point perspective? I think this is still like where my eye level is. There's like a wall. I'm gonna say it's about at this point in the illustration. Trying to get comfortable with my ground plane. And where I want that to be. Alright, so let's see. The window. There's no particular order to what you place first. I think a lot of it is how you feel comfortable. I want to make sure these things are parallel to each other. The windows and the wall. And the sweat. Just kidding. Alright, so you want to make sure that you have... Alright, there's like it's a storage unit, but it's also like a... What's the other word for this thing? So like the back would be here, but it's moving up. So I'm just trying to understand where that is. And let's see, there's also a cabinet. Why did I pick this one? I didn't even realize it was 2-point perspective. That's what happens, you see? And mess myself up. I'm like, oh crap, I don't know 2-point perspective that well. I should at least review my notes. I wonder if I have my book around me. My perspective made easy. Maybe we can refer back to our 2-point perspective so that I'm not... Alright, so you have that thing. And then... Oh, I remember. You're supposed to have the tooth... If I remember correctly, the vanishing points is like way off. It's off the page. Remember? We talked about this. We talked about this. I want to make sure that I remember what I'm talking about. So it's like you have this... okay, I think I kind of get it. And this should be getting bigger than as it comes this way. I'm starting to kind of remember. I need more coffee. I should have drank my cup before. So much better with coffee. So much better. I think this is further off the page, so I'm gonna move these further off the page. But I don't want to mess up the perspective in the meantime. Alright, maybe there. And let's see if I can repair that little gap. Remember, like in your thumbnail stage, which is basically, this is my thumbnail stage still. It's okay to experiment around a little bit. I want to find the base of everything. And I could just add also like these perspective lines, like a grid. Right now I feel like I want to just see what this dresser is. The good thing is it's not too complex. This dresser is a lot further back. Let's see. I might need to I think I'm making things too big. It's already taking up a lot more of the space than the original one is. And my cabinet should be further away from that little stool there, so maybe I'll move these over and I'll have to fix the line again, but that's okay. Alright, it shouldn't be so drastically off, but I'll need to re-establish the ground plane. Oh yeah, that's the wall. I'm like, what is this line here? This is the wall. And I don't think this needs to come out as far as it does. So I'll end it a little bit shorter. I think that's the biggest thing, is finding where everything is. That's the first step. Where are you placing things? And make sure the parallel lines stay parallel. That's important. Alright. Something's up with my stylus. It keeps like going down for some reason. It's alright, but it's just something's up with it. Alright, so we have this part of the room, and the next part is this bed. And the bed, it comes like far into the other side of the room, and it goes about that much up. Let's see. It's a bed, and there's like a bed post. And quite a bit over here. And it's trying to understand where everything is going. Alright, let's see. At some point it probably would be helpful to do like a different colors for some of these things, just because so it doesn't get too muddled or confusing with the overlapping objects. Let's see. The rug is also coming in, and I may need to make things smaller again, because there's a lot more space on the ground. Let's see. Once you figure out the perspective, it feels like everything else is a lot easier to get. Because it is. That's the most, for me at least, the most complicated part of everything. It's like, and you should essentially know where things are, like drawing between your lines and knowing where things are going So let's see. All right, let me make this a bit smaller. I want to keep that there, I think. But I feel like I keep moving this window and cabinet. And I may want to make them a little bit bigger. Even though I made the other one smaller, I think I want to make those a little bit bigger. Yeah. And you can do the same sort of thing with pencil. You just have to adjust accordingly with your eraser and everything. I think it's very important to learn how to really eyeball things well. Or to understand things through eyeballing them. I think that's important. Hopefully you guys can hear me well. Make sure that I'm on my right microphone. Okay. All right. The hard part is kind of over. I think that was like the most complicated part, just placing things in the room. I don't want to speak too soon though, and then I'll start struggling like, oh, what do I do now? Find the tops of things. That's important. I like how we just spent a whole time like figuring, like reading the book on perspective, and I'm still like mostly eyeballing things. I think it helped me, but still, man, I still want to be able to. I hope it has helped me eyeball things better, because I'm still going to be eyeballing stuff. I mean, it's just the way I do things. I don't want to sound like I'm not willing to learn. It's like, I hate when people say, oh, it's just always been that way, and you're not willing to learn new things. So I don't want to come off that way, but I know that like I want to apply things that I'm learning, but also like I want to apply them in a way that makes sense for me. That makes that probably makes no sense, but I'm trying here. All right, that is, I think, or maybe instead of that, maybe I should just start to adjust my color accordingly to what's more in the forefront. All right, okay, that's good. Even when there's effects and things that cover up the background, you want to make sure that the background is clear before you even think about those things. So you should have everything in place where it needs to be before you even think about, like, don't even act like the effects aren't there. Like they're not even there. Because you don't want to even, like, you don't want to neglect things because you're going to have an effect in the way. Like there's that big light that's going to be coming in, but right now we're not even going to be thinking anything about that because that's not happening anytime soon. We want to make sure that everything is where it's supposed to be before that. I'm going to remove this window a little bit. Okay. All right. All right. So we have a lot of the base going very well. I might want to see. I'm still just working on one layer. And I want to keep it on one layer for now. Just this to, I'm okay with it. Sorry for the ambulance. Noisy ambulance going by. That annoying. But I guess I shouldn't say it's annoying. I mean, thank God it's not. At least, you know, it's not us being picked up by the ambulance right now. Hopefully whoever is being picked up is okay. Try to reframe things sometimes. I know I don't want to, like, you know, be insensitive. Like, oh God, that alarm is so, that fire engine is so annoying. At least, you know, at least we're not the ones that need the fire engine right now. So that's, you know, some perspective. Yeah, I'm good at learning perspective in other ways. Okay, so there's a doll. So I always think too, like, it's one of the things that interests me is just like how you decorate a room according to like your characters in the room. You want to think about that. Um, One thing that I've had to learn and that, you know, I'm still like um, learning to do better is really paying attention to the props I keep around in a room or in a space. And you want to make sure that the space is not feeling boring or empty. And it's something that it takes a while for us to learn to do if we're used to just, especially coming from doing primarily characters, which was what I only did for a while. And it was hard for me to learn how to adjust to doing backgrounds and props and making a space feel lived in is it's a practice, and it's something that, you know, you don't get automatically, but it can be kind of fun to learn because the space becomes its own character in a sense, and it becomes its own thing, and it just makes it more interesting. So finding ways to make a space feel interesting and lived in is definitely a skill in itself. But it feels really good once you start to get used to it. At first it's hard. You're like, oh God, I don't know what to put. But think about shows, movies where other characters like your character exist and live in, and that can probably give you some ideas. Even if it's in a certain geographical location, you can find books, shows, like I said, movies that can be almost anywhere, even if it's fictional. Even if you're making a new space, you can think about what is it closest to, what kind of places remind me of this fictional place that I'm creating. Is it kind of like a futuristic New York, or, you know, you can find inspiration from somewhere. Okay. even if it's someplace you've never been, like in the book that that I'm currently illustrating, that I wrote, JD's Story. I've never been to this location, which is based off of Kenya, but I can still like find pictures of people who live there and who, who have, their life, and just kind of imagine based off of my character's personality, like what type of things she might have. And that's something, like I said, you get used to it. It's hard at first, but the more you just kind of let yourself doodle and kind of be willing to try things, then it gets a lot easier. All right, so we have primarily finished with the space. That was not so bad. Make sure I'm saving. Wasn't as hard as it seemed like it might be. I know, like, sometimes it can feel intimidating when you're working on a new type of illustration. I wanted to also include different types of spaces, if you didn't notice, in this series. So the first one we did was exterior, and we were out in the woods with our characters. They were foraging, and it was a very, woodsy type of illustration. This one, or the one we did before this, was, with a limited background. Like, it's very simplified, super simplified, not really a clear defined space, but kind of taking it more into the abstract. And in this one, we have like a full interior with 2-point perspective. So there is, hopefully, you guys are seeing that, trying to add some variety to these so that you can see like different types of places where you can put your characters. Hopefully you have your characters moving around through different locations. I think that makes it even more interesting for readers if you have like your characters not just stagnant in one place, but they're moving around. They're inside in one illustration, and they might move for whatever reason to the outside. They might be in a school or wherever. All right, and then we have our character strategically placed in line with these papers. It's her head. I just noticed how that's very intentionally placed there. So always think about your composition as well as your perspective. I'm gonna put this book away. Okay, so you see I've used like different colors too. That kind of helps me to kind of see where everything is. Character doesn't really take up much space at all in this illustration. And I think I might want to put her on a different layer. So I'm going to cut, and then I'm going to paste in place. Alright, so I want to keep her on a different layer just because I feel like I'm probably going to have to adjust her size, because usually I do have to do stuff like that when I'm doing character on in a space. The first attempt is not exactly always where it needs to be or an exact size and everything, so I want to make sure that I am aware of that. This is a fun page. I'm glad we picked this one. And it's a challenge too. I think like color wise it's a nice challenge. But if I knew it was 2-point perspective, I probably wouldn't have picked it. Oh, this is not complex. Okay, and she's actually like, let's see. Oops, I didn't mean to angle it. Why does it keep, oh, you know what? I'm so used to like moving things around in Procreate. I forget that it's different with Photoshop. All right. Mm-hmm. Is that right? I think the size is right, but I'm gonna need to adjust these papers to align with her better. I'm gonna unlock them. Because it's like a 1, 2, 3. Right. I guess that's alright. If I need to change it for the final, I will. Alright, so let's go back to our character and add her in a little more detail. Let's zoom in a little bit. So now is the part where I get quiet. Don't be alarmed. Just need to focus. I notice I do my character's ears pretty big, or at least my kids. Her ears are pretty small, but I like to typically give my kid characters like bigger ears. I just think it's kind of cute, like animal like. Kids kind of have animal like proportions anyway. Like, no offense to kids, but they kind of do. You know, like they have bigger heads and to their body ratio. She has a little necklace. She has a stuffed elefante. Maybe I can make the elephant. Should I make it a different color? Maybe just to kind of see it better. Probably this bright fuchsia wasn't the best choice, but let's see. All right, and let's see. She has her little nightgown. Okay. Alright, so here we are. I'm surprised we got all of this background in. Very nice. Very, very nice. We, I think, are officially finished with the background as far as the sketch goes. So I think we can start to move on to our color. And let's see, I want to find, because it looks very much like she's working from dark to light. And let's see. more blue. Alright, let's start very dark. And let me find a brush to work in. So I'm just starting out, just coloring in everything. And I'll start to lighten things up just little by little. Alright, I need to find a nice big there's so many options. I don't know what I want. Let's see. I just go a little bit lighter. I don't see any texture at all, I don't think. Will probably be multiple layers of trying to figure out this. Alright, let's see if I find it. I'll try a different brush. Where are my Erin Blaze brushes when I need them? Alright, let's see, Pastel C. Let's try this one. Make it a little bit pinker. Let's try this. Maybe I'll start to add a second layer. Ooh, I like this brush. I love the Erin Blaze pastels. He's not paying me, I wish he was, but I really like his pastel brushes for Photoshop. And it looks like it starts to get rounded around the middle somewhere. And I might need to take the opacity down on this as well. And make it bigger. Ooh, that's fun. Probably doesn't need to be that big, but that's kind of fun. So let's see. I'm going to take the opacity down a little bit, and I'm going to add another layer. And I want to get a little bit more bluer. I don't think that's a word, but it's okay. And this is kind of fun. It feels a little scribbling like. And I want to even add another, even more blue. But I'll probably put the opacity even lower on this one. Let's see. Let's see. What about this one? Alright. I'm gonna, oops, what did I do? Alright, so let's see. We have that. That's fun. What's this? Oh, this needs to be up here. Alright. Let's group these roughs together. I'm gonna lock that for now. And say roughs. Let's save, and I'm gonna add another layer for this window. I'm gonna make that outside window. I'm gonna just lasso it and make it solid. Alright, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick this, pick a blue, and then I'm also going to add some, oops. Alright, so I'm going to keep it selected like that, and let's go ahead and add some of this pastel to the window. That's not the angle I want. Can get a little bit lighter in the bottom part. Oops. Let me grab a lighter color again. A little bit darker. And plan on playing around. I want to find what I'm looking for. So I'm going really soft right now. I want to get it to be where I want it. Alright, kind of like that. So I think I'll leave it there for now, and let's see. I'm going to start adding alright, let's go ahead and add in this windowsill. And I think I'm going to use a shape for that. Here and here. But there's that angle, so I'm going to also go up to meet the perspective. Let's see. Alright, I think I'm okay with that. And let's find the color. It's purple, but it's very light. Let's try this. Alright, I think I can work with that as a base color. So there's also, so I'm gonna leave the things that are very background, so I'm going to start flattening some of these areas. Let's see where that rug will be. It's just a little bit lighter than this. Oops, wrong one. I think a little bit less saturated too. Alright, I'm gonna leave this, so let's say BG1, and let's see. And then I'm gonna come up and start adding some of these other things. Let's see, this is more pinkish. One. Let's see more down here. Let's try this. I might even put this, yeah, I think I'll put this on the layer below so I can put the cushion on top. I'm always just trying to think like what's going to get in the way when I'm starting to add texture to these. And so I want to separate them according to like if they'll interfere with each other. So there's a method to the madness. Photoshop really needs to up their game with like angled straight lines and angled. I'm just so used to like the Procreate having certain things that Photoshop does not. I don't know, is there like something in Photoshop that lets you do a completely straight line and then angle it? Or like without using the line tool? I don't know. I'm gonna put this down here. Wrong color. All right. Okay, so very good. We only have a few minutes left, but I think we're good. I didn't even think we were going to get to the color today, so we're ahead of schedule. All right, a yellowy green for this base. Okay. Put my cabinet. I think I can put my cabinet down here. And I wonder how much of it I can do with this lasso tool. Let's see. Can I just do part of it with this? I'm gonna find the right color. Maybe I'll use some version of this so it will be in the same family. That makes sense to me. Alright, and I think for the rest I'll use this. Oh, I could use that. It might be easier using this like polygonal lasso tool. That makes more sense for this flatting part. This is something that Procreate does not have, that Photoshop does. Alright, so Photoshop's like, take that, Procreate. Let's see. Maybe I'll just duplicate this. Duplicate it. And then flatten this. Unlock it so that I can turn that opacity down. And then I still have my originals if I need to separate them. I probably don't, and then I'll just delete that layer. Alright. That's good. Okay, so we've made some good progress. And I think I'll put the bed on this layer. Should probably do it will probably be easier to do these first. All right. Make it just a little bit darker. For this part, it might just be easy to use this. You're not trying to take shortcuts, but why make things harder than they need to be? So if you hear me talking about making things easier, it's really just like not complicating things, simplifying things. So, you know, regardless, it's going to be work, but why make it harder than it needs to be? Let's see what it looks like without this sketch. It's coming along. We don't have light and shadow just yet, but it's coming along. For flattening stage. And I guess I should put my bed differently than I have where my polygonal lasso tool. Let's go ahead and I'll need to adjust the sheets to make them look more organic, because they're not just like straight across from the bottom like that. So I will do that, but not yet. All right. A bit darker, I think. Okay. All right. Let's see. Is there anything else I can add? Kind of just want to put a little bit for the character as like a placeholder. Let's see. Maybe All right. I just want to kind of be able to visualize where the character is going to be in my space. All right, so this is where we are. Not bad for 1 hour. We got all of our basin. We have, let me make it bigger so we can see the whole thing. So we have all of the basin, all of the perspective lines, all of the key elements of the bedroom. So this is a good start. We got a lot done in 1 hour. So I just want to, reiterate that this is Vashti Harrison's design from Sulway. It's a book by Lupita Nyong'o. I think it's an awesome book. Regardless what culture you come from, I think it's a great lesson. So this is a good illustration. I think we got off to a good start, and we're going to continue working on it next week. So we'll see how far we can get each week. Make sure that I save where I'm at so that I know where we're going to continue on for next week. So let me go into my other window. All right, you guys, that is it for today's Studying the Masters Children's Book Edition. Please join me next week. We're going to continue on this illustration. I'll be probably having some other live streams before then. I have a couple of things that I want to share with you guys, so look forward to that. So make sure if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for joining me for this time. And until I see you guys next time, have a great Memorial Day weekend. It's my actual wedding anniversary weekend. Be grateful, live balanced, be yourself. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.